Hello everyone, my name is Angel and today we are finally back with another plan with me where this time I will be showing you how I set up my bullet journal for May. Alright, let's just jump right in with me lettering the word May in this retro-ish font. I wanted to mimic the art style in the promotional posters for the Blackpink music video for Ice Cream. I used just one photo from the results I saw on Google and based everything off of that. This was actually the concept for my April plan with me, but I got too busy so I didn't get around to doing that anymore. I know it is like spring elsewhere, but it's been summer for a few weeks now in the Philippines, and summers in the Philippines are really humid, so I was like, what do I look for a lot nowadays? And I remember always looking for ice cream because it is refreshing, and so I thought about doing an ice cream theme in my journal. When we move on to the next pages, you will notice that there isn't a lot of ice cream, and that's because you can only draw so much ice cream until you get tired of it. So I thought about mixing in other quote-unquote retro items that would fit the color scheme that I'm working with. What I'm doing right now is like a multicolored blob, and looking back, I think it looked better without the beige that completed the bean shape. Moving on to the quote page, I'm drawing an old school TV that looks like a microwave. I based this from an image I saw on Pinterest, which if you are interested to see, I have linked in the description. Likewise, if you want to know the exact supplies I used during this setup, I have listed everything down in the description. I'm not sure if you have, but if you've seen my other bullet journal plan with me videos, you might notice that I talk too fast. I don't know why, but it just happens to be like that. Someone even pointed it out, and I think it was my February or March 2021 video, and I still don't know why I do it. I hope I'm actually talking at a normal pace right now because I am making a conscious effort to do so. For color, I used a bunch of colored pencils to do a no signal design on the TV screen. I thought about getting a pastel brush pen set, but I don't think it will even arrive before I filmed this, so I didn't bother. I just used what I had around. The quote for this month is just a simple ice cream chillin' in reference to the initial inspiration for this month's theme. Before coloring in everything else with brush pen, I used this mechanical eraser that is probably one of my favorite online purchases this year because it is a game changer. I used to only use the gray kneadable eraser, which lifts a bit of graphite off the page so the pencil markings won't be as visible, but with this, I can completely erase pencil markings. You know what? I'm sure you know how erasers work, so let's just move on to the next thing. I have on this page a bunch of items that Pinterest described as pastel retro, and I used the 0.2 fine liner to outline everything and the 3 brush pens for color. I will only use those 3 colors for the rest of the setup. Now moving on to the monthly calendar. I really don't know how to make a calendar more interesting, so I just did what I always do. I redid the lettering for me at the top left, and I outlined the calendar shape below it. To add some decoration, I drew a record player at the bottom left, which is also pastel retro according to Pinterest. The boxes for each date is 6 by 6. This is how I did the drop shadow effect for the words. First, I used the Tombow Fudenoski hardtip brush pen to really get close to the edge of the letters. It is a thin drop shadow, so I went back in with the Pigma medium brush pen to make the black drop shadow thicker. This is also a chance to correct the shape of the letters in case you made a mistake. The next layer is a pink drop shadow, which I just traced right underneath the black. I wanted to get the initial color that it gave off, so I was careful to keep the correct width all throughout. Finally, we have the bottom layer, which is the lavender. I just did the same thing as with the pink one, but I made sure to cover more area so that the letters seem to touch each other. You may not see it, but I just used the same colors, pink, lavender, and beige, to color in the record player at the bottom. The only thing I corrected is the way I colored in the vinyl. Initially, I used black as the reflection of the CD, which I don't know why I did that, but then I corrected it so that the entire vinyl was black, and I used white gel pen to give the reflection effect on the surface, which you will not see on camera, but you will see that at the end. Also, I don't know if I will crop this out, but at the leftmost edge, you will see a peek of my phone showing the interface of Among Us because I was watching a bunch of Among Us videos from this guy's toast, just so it won't be silent while I filmed. I recently rediscovered the new maps and mods, and I realized it felt comforting to go back to watch the channels I used to watch a lot, which is kind of dramatic considering that I stopped watching Among Us content only a few months ago. Okay, for this month, I decided to scrap the mood tracker because it stressed me out to have to fill in a bunch of trackers at the end of the day, and I was just lazy to go back and judge my mood throughout the day that I didn't even fill in a single leaf for my March mood tracker. Also, I think the overall stress that I was under during that month and the weeks that followed contributed to my lack of bullet journaling between March and April. Anyway, I decided to keep the habit tracker partly because I wanted to use the calendar stamps that I got a few months ago, and also because I didn't want to get rid of the only thing that held me accountable for my daily behavior and the sense of accomplishment I get when I fill in the dates at the end of the day. I used the lavender brush pen to ink the stamp, and I kind of made a mistake with the spacing, but it's fine. I still managed to fit 3 calendars in each row anyway. I kept the same habits I was meant to track in March, and I hope this time around I will keep track of them. So I cleaned out this supplies cabinet we had at home, and I found a bunch of stationery items such as stickers and washi tapes, and I am so excited to use them for this setup, and you can see a few of them at the bottom left corner of the habit tracker. In place of the mood tracker, which was always next to the habit tracker, I decided to do a watch list page, which is a tracker for the shows and YouTube videos I watch. The top half is meant for K-drama, which I watch a lot, and the bottom half is for YouTube videos, or maybe the duration of my YouTube usage, I don't know. If you are interested, I'm currently watching Dr. Romantic, which is not a new drama, but I watched a few episodes of Dr. Romantic 2 on TV, and it was dubbed in Tagalog, and I wanted to understand the story without having to sit there and watch a few minutes of it every night, so I decided to watch both shows on my own time. The thing is, I hate blood, like I shudder at the sight of it. And Dr. Romantic is a medical drama, which means it has surgery scenes and explicit imagery at that, so I can't watch a lot of it, unlike other dramas like The Penthouse, which is just, suspense and all, and I can watch that all night. And by the way, I finished season 2 in a span of 3 days because it was that good, and it didn't have scenes where doctors slice you and have to perform surgery on you. Anyway, so far I think Dr. Romantic is interesting. I just can't watch more than 1 hour at a time because it makes me feel squeamish, I'm sorry. If that is one of your favorite K-dramas, I'm sorry. It's not a terrible show, it's just full of blood. Back to the setup. I'm sorry if my head keeps popping up in the corner there, it looks weird. But I decorated this page so that the top half was pink and the color dripped down and the bottom half didn't have color. All of the words were decorated the same way I've been decorating the other words in the previous pages. Next, we have a projects tracker which will serve as a progress tracker for the term projects that I am expecting to hear about during this month. It's almost final season and I am so excited for summer break. I mean, who isn't? Anyway, this term I have a lot of classes, but I only included 5 spaces here because I'm not really expecting term projects for some of my classes. The only ones I expect to have term projects on are my classes in accounting, biomechanics, and statistics. I am planning to make a video on all of the classes I have to take as an industrial engineering student in the Philippines, but I don't know yet what the other classes are about, so I'm waiting until I have more insight on those classes to be able to give a better overview. For now, I think the best I can do is a list of classes you need to take before the major classes. To decorate this page, I basically did the same but with the added background for the heading of the page. You might notice the little space at the top left, and that was meant for a calendar. However, I got the measurements wrong, so I just stamped the days of the week separately. Finishing it off, I colored the corner spaces beige. No reason, I just felt like doing so. Next to it, we have the brain dump, which I only did the title bar for in the same style as the projects tracker. Not very exciting, it's just a blank page where I will write down future thoughts that I will have. Finally, we are on to the last spread of the video. I feel like I've been talking for ages. Anyway, my camera died as I started doing the sidebar to the left, so I just finished it off before recharging the battery. I decided not to do the font here anymore, so I just wrote coming up at the top of the sidebar, and as I mentioned in my March setup, I do this weekly layout because professors tend to give tasks that are due the next week faster than I can make the next weekly, so when that happens, I can just write down the task on the date indicated in the taskbar. I actually made another mistake here because I wrote Monday on the space that was supposed to be Tuesday, so I took a piece of washi tape to place over the whole thing and I just rewrote the dates and days of the week. For decoration, I drew a Nintendo Switch below the sidebar. For individual days, I did something similar to the watch list where I have the pink dripping down from the top. This time, the pink was the space where I will write down the date, and the space below it is left blank because it is where I will write down the tasks. I just used the Fudonosuke pen to write down the numbers. On the space between May 3rd and 8th, I wrote out week 19 in huge letters just to fill the space because I don't know what else to do there, and I didn't want to do another sketch because it had to be a specific size to look okay up there. That is also where I did a bunch of ice cream cones because how could I forget to draw some ice cream in this setup that was initially inspired by ice cream? At the bottom right, I drew a brick phone and then used a 0.2 fine liner to separate each day into their own spaces. Before coloring in the numbers, I colored the pink drip first because the black ink might smudge if it did that before the pink. I also decorated week 19 with ice creams and used the same 3 colors I used throughout. After the pink dried a bit, I went back in with a black brush pen to fill in the numbers. Going back to the week 19 text, I did the same thing I've been doing to the larger text with a series of drop shadows. Using the lavender, pink, and beige brush pens, I colored in the switch, and the phone, and of course, the ice cream. Finishing off this weekly spread, I wrote the days of the week next to their respective dates. Finally, let's move on to the final flip through. And that is it for my bullet journal setup for May 2021. I hope you liked what I did for this month's Plan With Me, and if you did, don't forget to click the thumbs up button and also subscribe to see more videos from me. I make videos on bullet journaling and school, so if you're interested, hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!